Hello, everyone. I'm Colleen Vanderzyden, and this is Creating an Inspired Life. I'm so happy you're watching and listening today. I'm a medium as well as a spiritual life coach, and my passion, as you may know, is to help people live their best lives, to help them realize they have the power within themselves to create the life they want to have and the life they deserve to have, too. Today's coaching tip is all about why hopelessness can transform your life. Yes, hopelessness. And I think most of us have been there at one point or another in our lives where we have the thoughts of giving up. It doesn't make a difference anyway. Nothing we do makes a difference, so we're not going to do anything. And we move into the why bother trying to change things. I've listened to quite a few of my clients complain about their hopelessness in finding a relationship or finding a job, maybe trying to change a relationship and realizing nothing they do seems to make a difference. Sometimes the clients are stuck in grief. They've lost a loved one, or they may have had a loss of a dream or a goal, something they really wanted to do, and it just didn't work out. And so they had to grieve that as well. And they get stuck in that hopelessness, feeling like the grief is never going to go away. And unfortunately, without some changes within ourselves, we can get sucked into this downward spiral of negativity and depression even, and it can lead us to feel like nothing is ever going to change in our lives. And that is truly what hopelessness is, feeling like nothing's going to change. But if you let it, hopelessness can transform your life. I know what you're thinking. I know somebody out there, if not more than one, is going, you're crazy. And you're immediately in your head listing all the reasons why I'm wrong. And you're listing all of your problems and telling me I don't know what I'm talking about. I can hear you. I'm psychic. But I've been there in that feeling of hopelessness. When I wanted so badly to get pregnant and it wasn't working out. When my brother got sick as a teenager and then died 6 months later at 16. When my relationship just fizzled, it just wasn't working, ended up crashing and burning, going through the divorce. I was hopeless when my son made some very, very poor choices and I couldn't help him. Maybe hopelessness could lead you someplace better. It will open up a whole new avenue for you and can move you out of the paralysis and into some new action. So how can you change your perception? A way to reframe your opinion on hopelessness is to ask yourself, what if whatever is happening is there to help me become the best version of me? A better, more capable, stronger version of me. Hopelessness is signaling that you're going through a shift. You're just changing. You're being forced to reach deep into your soul to access the power of who you truly are. You're being forced to decide how you want to live your life. You're being forced to look at everything from a whole new way. You're being forced to become stronger. It's there to push you to become a better person. Yes, it's not pleasant. No one likes to feel hopeless. No one likes to feel like they're going to be stuck in whatever's happening for the rest of their lives. Now, to reinforce this idea of reframing your perspective and to help you become more open to the idea that hopelessness can actually help you and be transformative, an idea of something you can do is look back over your life. I call it a life review, but look back with the intention of finding the other times in your life where you felt hopeless. When I was struggling to get pregnant, nothing was working. We tried various medical routes and even went down the adoption path, the private adoption thing. People would call you up, you get a toll-free number and all this stuff. This went on for years. This is not months. It just went on and on for years, trying to get pregnant, trying to find someone to adopt, that kind of thing. It got to the point where I was in depression, despair. I felt hopeless for sure. Nothing was working. But when I look back at that time, 25 years later, I can see that the hopelessness led me to this awesome transformation. I had to learn to release control. I couldn't force the situation to go the way I wanted it to. I couldn't force the medical issues to resolve. I couldn't force an adoption. I had to learn the value of trusting life and that whatever is happening in my life, it will work out as it should for my highest and best without my trying to fix it, otherwise known as control it. I can also see that because of that time, I was much more appreciative when I did become a mother through adoption and through birth as well. I was a much better mother because I was more grateful than I would have been if I hadn't gone through that time. So I wanted to enjoy every minute with my children. By doing a life review, this can give you proof and hope that today's problems, today's hopelessness will also transform us. You've gotten through other problems in the past, and you'll get through this hopelessness as well. You'll be able to see how you came out of those past experiences stronger and with a greater awareness of who you are and what you are capable of. Sometimes we forget the things we've been through in the past. We just forget about them, and we think what's going on now is the most important thing, which it is. However, if we can look back at those problems we got through and say, oh, yes, we did this. We are stronger than we think. We can do it. You may have a hopelessness because a relationship ended, and when you look back at that, you might realize that it taught you that you are worthy of having a better relationship. Maybe it taught you can't control another person and their actions. You might see how you've grown as a person and how that relationship helped you become a better person in some way or another. You might also see the wonderful things you've achieved since that relationship ended that you wouldn't have done if you'd stayed in that relationship. You also might find out you're more capable of handling things than you thought you were. Maybe you experienced hopelessness when you lost your job and you struggled to find a new one. And that may have led you to a better understanding of what's important in your life. Maybe you were too materialistic and you've decided you don't need a bunch of stuff in your life. Maybe you learned who your true friends are and they stuck by you through that time, supporting you and encouraging you. Maybe you strengthen your spirituality. I know after my brother died, and of course people always argue with me because death is, so horrible and everything. And I work with it all the time, with death, that is. But even with my brother passing, there were some really awesome, wonderful experiences that happened afterwards. And I got to see how other people were there for our family during that time. So if you're experiencing some hopelessness, find the gifts that come out of the ones that you had in the past. Look back and see what's going on there. There were gifts that were there. You became stronger. You became more capable because of everything you've experienced. Without the things you've experienced, you wouldn't be who you are today, including the difficulties and the challenges. If you're feeling it now, if you're feeling hopeless now, ask yourself, what if whatever is happening is there to help me become the best version of myself, a stronger, more capable version of myself? Know that you're going to get through it, just like you did in the past. Reframing your belief from it's never going to change to this is helping me become my best self can help you move past that frustration of being hopeless and back into empowerment, which is what you really have inside. So that is my coaching tip of the day. That came up because I talked to a few clients who really were struggling. So you can reach me at psychicmediumcolleen.com, as well as on Facebook, Colleen Vanderzyden, medium and self-empowerment coach. And you can connect with me at either one of those places. So we will go on to our first caller, who is Tatyana from Kill Devil Hills in North Carolina, USA. Tatyana, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Awesome. I was just in Kill Devil Hills. I went to a distillery there and got some rum. Have you ever been to that distillery?
No.
Yeah, you should check it out. It's down there somewhere. I was just there. So how can I help you today?
Well, should I ask a question or is it just one question?
Well, usually people will have some kind of a concern they want to talk about. So if there's something in particular, we can talk about that and see where we end up.
Okay. Well, one of the concerns is like my husband. He left me in a difficult situation. I'm at stage 5 kidney failure. And he left me, and kind of the message that was before was kind of proper. Like I was applicable to me. I was kind of crying the whole year. But now I feel like maybe it's just supposed to teach me something, but I'm at kidney failure.
Okay, I'm sorry to hear about that, Tatyana, because that's very difficult.
But difficult enough to deal with sickness, and then my husband left and filed for a divorce. And to have kind of like very strange because he was a good husband and kind of like almost a different person this past year.
Sometimes they find it very hard. Sometimes our partners find it very hard to handle when we're sick. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to say. And I've had some experience, not my own personal, but from clients and things like that, where people have told me that their husbands couldn't handle it. And it's like they got so scared they had to leave. They couldn't do it. But I have to go back to what you were saying before, which was awesome. That you heard what I was saying about there's something within this that is teaching you how strong you are, because I can feel your energy and I can tell that you are actually a very strong person. And that's not to discount your sadness and the emotional or stuff like that, because you have to experience that when something horrible happens with your husband leaving. But I can tell you're a strong person because you've been the person who's kept going no matter what. Even with the kidney failure happening, you're still trying your best to live as best you can. And I can tell you're doing that. I would assume that you're on some kind of dialysis or something then, yes?
Not yet. But I'm doing a diet. Okay. Like I started all-fruit diet to see if my kidney function can get better. But on the last test, it was 11%.
Okay. Well, I work as a healer too. And I can tell you I've seen some miraculous things happening. And, doing the new diet, I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose nor prescribe any of those things. But doing the new diet, I can't see that that's not going to help in some way. So even though your function is getting lower and has gotten to a low state, you just keep your positive attitude, and that's going to make a difference. Now, I do feel around you that you have some other people who are very supportive to you. Do you have some other people around you who are there, who are supporting you?
Mm-hmm. Like I have a friend, yeah. Mm-hmm. Like
okay, because I am feeling... Yeah. Okay, good, because I do feel other people around you, and I feel like they're there helping you as best can be. Now, it is interesting, too. Did you say this diet you went to is a lot of fruit or something like this? Because I wanted fruit and vegetables. Uh-huh. Okay, because all of a sudden I wanted fruits and vegetables, like no meat, that kind of thing. Eating very, very healthfully, a lot of that. And I definitely felt like that was important for you. So I'm glad you're doing something like that. And the thing with your husband leaving, have you spoken to him recently? Because I do feel a little bit of communication here.
Yeah, I speak with him, but he still is like, no, I'm not good enough, so I have to have a divorce. But I never told him he was not good enough. He's just acting very strange.
Yeah, the way it feels to me, it doesn't feel like, I know he's struggling with what's going on with you, but it's almost as though something happened and he in his head, okay? Like something happened in his head and he's moved into a more negative place or something somehow, because I can still feel the communication and I can still feel that he cares for you. Okay, so I can definitely tell that. It is very interesting, but I also get the impression he really feels like he's doing you a favor. Does he think he's doing you a favor?
Yes, he's thinking he's doing me a favor.
Isn't that the strangest
thing? He's not good enough for me, so like he used to have a divorce. But that's just crazy. Wow. Like I never told him he was not good enough. And I told him I needed support because I'm sick,
Right. Isn't that strange? Very strange.
But he thinks he's doing me a favor. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he thinks he's doing you a favor. It's like he's trying to save you trouble. But for you and I, we're in agreement here that doesn't even make sense. Okay, it just doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, has he been to a doctor for a full? Because I want to encourage that. Have him go for a full physical, kind of just say what's going on to the doctor, because this doesn't normal behavior for him. Because I can feel him in the past supporting you. It's just not normal behavior, which makes me wonder if there's a medical condition. Yeah, don't you think? It seems like there's a medical condition or something that has to be affecting him, because this doesn't make sense. Okay, it's not making sense. So I don't know if you have any influence to ask him, have you been to the doctor lately, just to get a check, make sure everything's okay. You haven't been there in a few years or whatever. Not that we're trying to manipulate him, but that's what we're trying to do. So, if you have any influence with him that way. Because I have to say, though,
I was wondering about it too. Like, he has dyslexia, and his sister died of epilepsy like a long time ago.
Okay.
And I think his mom had Parkinson's disease. Like, I don't know if it's something like with his brain,
Yeah, well, I'm wondering too. I'm just like, what? Because it just doesn't feel right. Because I know he's a good guy. I can tell he's a good guy, and I can tell how much he cares for you. So I'm happy to hear that you're actually talking to each other, because I do feel that that's important. At the same time, I do want you to make sure you're taking care of yourself as well, that you're moving forward, even with the possibility that he may not come back. It's kind of like you got two things happening here at once, but just taking care of yourself. I have to tell you, you are pretty stubborn, aren't you? Because I can feel you pretty much not giving up, even with the kidneys having some issues there. I can feel you not giving up. You're not about to let a physical problem stop you from doing what you want to do and stop you from living your life as fully as possible. So you just keep being as stubborn as possible to keep going with that. And I have to tell you, too, I do feel some very good medical people around you who give you some good advice. So make sure you're listening to them, of course, because that's going to help as well. And I know also that you're drinking a lot of water, and I know that that's helping too. So you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing. And I can feel your strength, your emotional strength coming back to you. And I can feel you really, it's almost as though you just really understand yourself very clearly now. You understand that because your husband left, it really has nothing to do with you at all. You understand that, which makes it easier to process. It doesn't make it necessarily easier overall, but it makes it easier to process. So
but I was
have
so
to say,
hurt and abandoned and betrayed.
Oh,
yes.
yes.
That was horrible.
Yes. And I always tell people, you've got to feel the emotions when something happens. You have to, because if you don't feel them, then you're not going to work through it. If you hadn't spent all of that time upset and crying and everything, you wouldn't have been able to move through it and get to this point where you can now see it from a different perspective. So what you've done is absolutely perfect. You've done absolutely the perfect thing to do to make it better for you. So, Tatyana, I have to say, I was just going to tell you, I do feel like things are going to be working out for you quite well down the line. Okay. So you just keep going, doing what you're doing, because you're doing the right things. Just keep doing it. Okay. And just stay.
The John of God last summer, and he said that my husband was the right husband for me. And at that time he already left, he because you have to be separated for a year before you can apply for a divorce. So when I went to Brazil, he already left. And John of God, he's a medium. He said that he was the right husband for me. And I don't know how, this year, he's still planning the divorce. Nothing happened,
Yeah, just keep trying to keep that as postponed as long as you can. Just keep it postponed, because I know he still cares for you and I know he loves you. So just keep going. Don't sign anything. Keep it going, because I agree with John of God on that one. I really do. So, Tatyana, I need to let you go so I can move on to my next caller, but it was so nice talking to you. Good luck. Good luck with everything. I will be sending you healing for your kidneys.
Thank you so much.
I definitely will. You are welcome. Have a good day. You're welcome. And that was Tatyana from North Carolina. And we're now going to move on to Angie from Texas. Angie, how are you?
Okay. Hi.
Hi. How are you today?
Hi. I'm doing okay.
Great. And how can I help you today?
however,
Do you have a particular question?
whatever you come up. Well, I think one of the key things is I started this new, really exciting business. It's a new start that's got tons of potential, and it's like I can't seem to get out of my own way. I'm not. It's like I've had a couple of opportunities to have great things happen, and it's like I'm doing things, but not enough.
Okay, you've got two things going on.
I'm holding myself back.
Yep. Okay. And one of them is, let's see. It's so easy for us to get in our way because we usually have some kind of an underlying belief that we are not good enough and we don't deserve whatever, success or whatever. And so we have an underlying belief, and so many of us have it, and we don't even know we have it. And we just get this feeling that that we can't achieve it, it's not going to work, that kind of feeling. And it'll start to show up when things just don't work the way they should be. It's almost as though you have to kind of get yourself way ahead of yourself and get yourself in that energy. So we always talk about, before you go to sleep at night, visualize how you're going to feel when this business is succeeding. Feel it as much as possible. Feel it in every possible way that you can. And if you do that before you go to sleep, that will help you move into that acceptance, because you need to accept that you deserve this. So it's an underlying belief that probably came when you were 3, something probably happened and whatever that got in your way. So that's something. Now, the other thing is I'm feeling a bit of impatience. Like I should be done with this already. I should be this far along already. I should be at this spot already. And I tend to do that myself at times. I think I should have already done whatever. And usually what that means is that we need to recognize that we are in exactly the right place at this very moment. We're exactly where we're supposed to be. When we are creating something new, our mind will get ahead of our physical vibrations, so to speak. So our minds are ahead of us, and our bodies and the rest of our vibration has to catch up. So there's a time where we'll do something, and then it seems like we're backtracking a little bit, but really what's happening is the rest of it's catching up to yourself. So if you have this great idea, you want to do it, but it doesn't seem to work for whatever reason, there's probably another way you need to do it, or you need to shift it just slightly. And in that time of waiting for something to happen, it will start shifting and that vibration will happen. So there's a couple things here for you to contemplate. One is, could there possibly be some kind of underlying belief that you don't deserve this success? And our initial reaction is always no. So give yourself some time to think about it, because in my experience, 99.9% of us have some kind of a belief. Then the other thing is to get comfortable where you are right now and not judge yourself, not say, oh, I should be here, I should be there, I should have done this already. And just say, you know what, where I am is in perfect order right now. It's perfect. What I need is going to come to me in divine order, and it will be perfect timing, because it's always perfect timing. So you're demonstrating by those thoughts, you're demonstrating to the universe that you have trust, that the universe, life, is going to bring you exactly what you need, exactly when you need it to make this work for you. I can tell you, I can feel the success with you. I can feel it. It's almost like you get to a certain point and something happens and everything changes. So what's happening now, whatever's going on, you feel like you need to be further, et cetera, et cetera. You just keep going with what you're doing, because you're catching up with yourself. And all of a sudden there's going to be this, I want to call it I don't even know what I want to call it, like a volcano. I'm going to call it a volcano, because there's so much energy that just all of a sudden goes and everything starts to fall into place. So you just need to keep going and allow that to happen, because it's going to happen. So allow it to happen. It is coming. I can see it, and I can see it very clearly. So take your time in this time now, because you don't want to get there too early, or it could be something. So Angie, that was a lot of information. I'm just like, whoop, throwing things at you. So you may want to listen to this recording again once they post it so that you can hear all the things that are in there. It's just two things, really. And then the third thing of trusting in the universe, trusting that the life it's going to work, that this is going to work out just perfectly. I can see this so clearly. You've got to be prepared. So take your time with the preparation, because next year, oh my God. Okay. So I am actually getting my 60-second warning here. So does that make some sense to you?
Do you see anything about relationship?
Well, I can't really get into that now because I won't have time to touch into it fully and completely like I'd want to do. So we'll have to touch in with that next time. So call again and then we'll get you in next time. So thank you so much for calling, Angie. Have fun with that business. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I'm Colleen Vanderzyden, and this was Creating an Inspired Life. And I want to thank you so much for watching and listening. You can find me at psychicmediumcolleen.com, as well as on Facebook, Colleen Vanderzyden, medium and self-empowerment coach. And I would love to hear from you there. You have a great week, and I will talk to you next week. Goodbye.